check the YouTube. It's lagging a little bit.
Like how long by? Like a minute or?
Like a 10, 15 seconds.
Will we see the comments? Let's see. Let me see if you see the comment, bro.
Okay. Yeah, did you do heart? Hey,
I said,
okay,
hey.
I can see it.
Okay.
Hello. Who is this guy, Chocoilus? Some random dudes joined our live stream.
No, that's good. Hey guys, how are you? we're figuring out how to go live on YouTube for the first time. Hey, Joms is there. Chuck Oil Lewis. Chuck Oil Lewis, are you a Cryptonary member, my man? We're figuring out this live stream stuff. And I think all of this is automatically recorded, which is great, bro. But what will happen naturally, you'll get people who aren't in crypto. Joms, let's work the title. It says, welcome to our live show. Can we update that title? Can you even update description? Title, description. You're a random dude. Okay. Do you have any idea what this is going to be about? Because you're not say that again, bro.
I think you're gonna lag and he will reply like in 10 seconds.
I think so. Oh, he's a C Pro member from Cameroon. Okay. Nice. That's awesome. I feel like YouTube could be even more fun than Discord, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
I think when other people come in, that'd be great. Should we say? Oh yeah, Joms has put like the logo in the top. Let me zoom in. If I zoom in, does it change? Okay, I want to zoom in my camera. 1 second. Okay. I'm gonna get something to drink.
Yep. Hey guys, whoever in the chat will be starting officially at 5 p.m. UK time. So we are taking, we joined slightly earlier to test a few stuff. So bear with us. We're going to be starting at 5 p.m. UK time.
We can still invite them here for like fun if you like. You want to drop the link, be like, guys, you start in 10, but here's a link. We're working out how to use YouTube. And then we need to get Mush. Join, you need to share the link as well, everywhere. Can't think. Should be good. Okay. Click share. Joms, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yeah, you just sent me the description you're going to use, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, you just sent me the description you're going to use, right?
Hello, hello.
Oh, interesting. Did you know we have a teleprompter section of bro, like notes? I can literally copy them in. We can keep them on the riverside. Let me delete the old ones. Okay, let me try something. Let me literally just rip it. Okay, let me see. Let's try this.
Okay.
Do you see on our riverside link?
What? Sorry?
Like the. Do you see the transcript button near the share screen? The
No,
teleprompter? If you
no.
see where you have your camera
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have mic, cam, speaker, react, raise, share, and leave.
okay, yeah, I've got a button that has like a bit of a transcript, which is cool. This is good. I need this type of stuff for when I'm actually doing the YouTube stuff.
Yeah. So the message is ready. Like I go like, hey everyone, join our live stream on YouTube and link to the YouTube.
Yeah. Let me just see something. I'll go to YouTube
I
now.
want. Do we know how many people joined?
It says there's 10 people here.
Oh really?
I think that
Okay,
includes
maybe
us, to
it
be fair.
says to you. Like I think you just tell me.
Yo, what's up, Ace? How are you? Can you hear us quite well? I'm curious if someone's not here, if they can hear us quite well. Someone's new. Well, this is new for us. We can start giving like special YouTube badges, bro.
Yeah. Whoever joins gets a badge or something like that.
That's good. That's a good idea. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, they can hear us well, loud and clear.
Amazing. Is it as clear or better even than Discord, or is it the same? Dive said it looks epic.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me find Assad. I'm gonna share him listening.
Okay, we'll have a Q&A session at the end, and we'll cover that as well. Chukoil, Lewis, okay?
Okay, I think I need to keep. I'll keep my phone open for the actual chat. GM. Okay, cool. Bro, should we put it in the
Yep.
Discord channel announcements?
Let's go.
Yeah, drop it.
Shoot. Let's go.
I think maybe drop like a message in Meme Coin channel. Be like, get your aura up, boys. Like, tell them join. Say, get
It
your
looks
aura up. Send the link.
it looks good actually. The announcement, it shows like
Oh,
it
does it? Let me
embeds
see.
the YouTube in it.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And I think the easiest part about is this automatically saves to YouTube as well. So
Okay, no
uploading
need to
headache is
manually
gone.
upload. Okay.
Yeah. Joms, are you still there? I think
Yep,
you
I'm
must
here.
be. Okay, no, awesome. Okay. This is so cool. Joms is literally the producer, bro. Never had this.
Yeah, okay, I can see more people here.
Okay. Okay, cool. Damn, I have to keep looking at my other device to see. Yes. It's going to be interesting seeing how there's people in Discord who have a different username on YouTube. And now we're going to have to, everyone's going to reintroduce themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching from the TV. Or bro. I think everyone who's here needs to drop their Discord handle so we know who we're talking to.
Yeah, imagine Andy, Brett, like doxing their like surnames, something like Brent,
Yeah.
Cameron,
Yeah, I
something.
was thinking this. Everyone's kind of like self-doxing. Yeah, I see Rain. Rain is in the chat. That's awesome.
Okay.
This is Titan. Titan, Stassi. Okay, so there was always a theory that Stassi was a guy who used a girl picture, but I don't think she'd go to the extent of having a Gmail with the name Anastasia. So I think she calmed all the rumors now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna dox everyone. Imagine Brett joins from, I don't know, Emma account or something.
That's brilliant. I think YouTube's gonna be cool. This is gonna be good. Asad here. Everyone gonna get exposed today. Real names.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think everyone's got to be quite careful because I'm pretty sure if I tap on someone's like profile, then I can go and I can see all the comments they've been leaving on the YouTube videos. So I'm gonna start joining from an alt moving forward.
Yeah. I saw some people deleting their comments.
You can delete your comments
Yeah,
here.
yeah. After you said, "Oh, we can tap and we'll find out like what did they say in the past."
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go delete my comment. Yeah, done.
Yeah.
I think. Let me see. I want to check something. What would be very cool is if I could see the chat here as well in front of me. I don't want to look at my phone.
Disclaimer: John's here taking over YouTube.
Yeah, we need mods. We need to give Johns and everyone else mod access to the chat. Okay. Mush says we look clean, amazing. Great. Let's keep rocking. Okay, bro. We'll give it like 5 minutes. Mush, have you put this everywhere or not yet? A few minutes away. Ah, this is too good. The names.
I feel like I'm that guy, the speed and all these live stream guys.
You're a live streamer.
Yeah. They go with the phone and they constantly
You know
check.
who you look like abroad? The guy clavicular. You're clavicular.
Clavicular. Who's
You're
that?
clavicular. You ran over someone in like a cyber truck. I remember seeing a couple of days
Oh,
ago,
okay.
and I heard you do like you punch yourself in the face and stuff. But I don't know. You have started. Everyone in the chat, like calls you handsome and stuff. So it's working.
Okay.
Okay, we're sharing out. Yeah, great.
I feel like it's better optimized for live streams rather than
I
Discord.
agree. A good combination having the Riverside as well. I know the guys can't see, but bro, one of these days I'll change my background to the picture we used earlier.
Oh no.
Clean. The C Pro takeover, guys, we actually just filmed a like 50-minute long video on concentrated liquidity pools. Johns is editing it as we speak. So that should come out this week. We're taking the 2026 Outlook report, we're turning that into a video. We want to do podcasts every single week alongside the live streams. So it'll be really good. Lots of possibilities. Tom's on holiday.
Macro holiday.
Macro holiday. Yeah, this is good. I think as well, if we optimize like things for SEO and people search these things up, you know what'd be good for this, bro? Going live during the Fed meetings and stuff,
Oh
because it's a lot
yeah.
easier when people search Fed. Like we can copy it to the top and we can pull it in, and you can share your screen and have it playing.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We used to, I think we did one time like a live commenting on Fed, but they didn't deliver anything unexpected, and we just, listened to what we were expecting to say. So they delivered the same cut, the same speech. I think we did it once on Discord. Me, Tom, and
Yeah.
Asset. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we gotta stream the right events and stuff. But I think like a topic like today is super exciting. Like I'm going to learn a lot. Like this is going to be really, really cool. So yeah. Tom's getting shade straight away, even on another channel. Um,
Yeah.
everyone picking on Tom. Lee has been to stocks now. Never. Stocktonary. Stocktonary.
Metal-tinary, commodity-nary.
Commodity. This is so good. We need to trademark those, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trademark. People asking about Tom, and I don't want to answer because if I say no and he doesn't come, if I say no and these people leave, now you've hurt my ego. But if I say yes and then you stay, I'll never know. I can't say anything. People, damn, leave Tom alone, guys. Calling him a grumpy bear. Yikes. Let's shut the Discord. Are people joining?
I like it. I like watching the chat like this, I don't know, on my phone, like,
Smoother.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Should we get started?
Yeah, I think we should. Okay, guys, fantastic. Today our stream is going to be about stocks x crypto. As you guys know, things are really picking up in 2026 with stocks. We've seen absolute chaos over the last couple of months in the stock market alongside crypto, especially due to Trump. And so today, what we're going to do is take a look at what is the new relationship between stocks and crypto. For years, crypto's whole pitch was we're getting rid of stocks, right? DeFi is destroying Wall Street. It's over. Cut the middlemen, forget the banks. But here we are, 2026, and Wall Street's tokenizing itself, right? The New York Stock Exchange is building the 24/7 trading product. BlackRock has 2 billion in tokenized assets, and you can literally buy stocks from your Phantom. So today we're going to go in and unpack it all. What does the future hold for it? Are we going to get more collaboration between crypto and stocks? Is there going to be a bit more of a decoupling? And we're going to dive into all of it. So yeah, bro. Let's dive in. Tell us how we got here today. Yeah, it seemed like throughout the last couple of years, stocks and crypto were very much coupled, and there's been a bit of a divorce over the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. So important distinction is that they've been coupled in terms of price action, but in terms of being integrated into each other, they were like so separated. Right now, actually, the opposite is happening. So it decoupled in terms of price. Stocks are going up, crypto is going down. But in terms of underlying integration, I think crypto and stock, like crypto and TradFi, I would say, not just stocks. They are so integrated right now. Like you can buy anything on chain these days, and predominantly you can buy like any major on the stock market as well through ETFs and that. So it's kind of like, if you really look, they're merging, but price wise, I think, yeah, they've decoupled recently.
Yeah, decoupling in price, but they're more married together than ever when it actually comes to the infrastructure. Why were they so coupled for so long price wise?
I think crypto and stocks in general, they are like a high risk assets. So crypto is much more riskier, but overall they are kind of the underlying drivers are the same, so the macro environment, overall risk appetite of investors. So whenever stocks would go up, crypto would go up harder. Whenever stocks would go down, crypto would go down harder, like as a better, like many people even call like BTC as a leverage better to S&P 500. So that was the relationship. So um, yeah, because the underlying factors affecting the growth, the stocks and crypto were the same.
Yeah, throughout the start of the year when the stock market was hitting new all-time highs week after week and crypto wasn't moving, that said to a lot of people that maybe that was over, the correlation was dead. What do you think?
Um, I think the correlation isn't that. I think it's like temporary detachment.
Okay.
But overall, I think correlation will continue to persist over a longer period of time, like, over longer time horizon. But what happened is that it was specific. If you remember, we were pretty much correlated to the stock market all the way until October 10th.
Mm.
And after that we started moving like in a opposite, essentially we're not even like moving in the opposite direction. So prices go up, crypto is going down. I mean, stocks go up, crypto goes down, stocks go down, crypto again goes down. So it's not like even the opposite direction, just crypto specifically is going down because there are more structural sellers than buyers. So up until October 10th, I think we were pretty much well correlated with the stock market.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I guess what we're going to focus on today, and I think is more important, is yes, we're not going to look at it from the lens of price action. We're going to look at the actual change in infrastructure. So, abroad, when we talk about the merger of TradFi and crypto and how, everyone kind of got it wrong early on when people were saying, crypto is going to replace TradFi, now they've merged. What are we actually referring to? What are these crypto rails that people keep talking about?
Yeah, so blockchain, fundamentally speaking, enables a lot of good stuff. You can have like faster settlement, much more transparent system, and fractional ownership. All this kind of stuff are very beneficial overall for any asset class to have. So I think with the much more friendly US administration, people actually now pushing this. So we've known all these properties of blockchains for years, but because of the previous SEC had and previous US administration, like there was no like a strong push because people were kind of afraid, um, to build something with crypto. So now they have a green flag, and that's why they are kind of building. And it makes sense because blockchain offers all these cool features, like anyone can buy anything, from anywhere in the world, which is pretty huge if you ask me. So that's why they're merging, because people are finally realizing the value of blockchain technology. And on top of that, you have good regulations and good administration to support that. So that's why like we are seeing some progress here.
Yeah, it made sense completely because you are able to break down geographical borders, and you make it more available to more people. The fact that anyone can go now and set up a phantom wallet and start buying any stock they could possibly want, it's so much easier and better than, you go and you sign up to a brokerage and it takes 14 days to KYC. And then, hey, if you're in certain countries, you don't have access to these tools at all. So I think breaking barriers geographically was a big one, but also the activity of the crypto market. So crypto is 24/7, whereas in TradFi, there's limited hours. So I suppose opening up and going on chain, it almost allowed them to make it easier for people to trade no matter where they are in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen actually a couple of few like wrong comments, like bad takes about this New York Stock Exchange. They go like, okay, now there is no use case for crypto or blockchain because like New York Stock Exchange is launching 24/7 trading. But if you look, they are actually using blockchain to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, people don't actually know what's going on under the hood. There was always that question about when they inevitably would move over. Would they go up and set up their own layer ones? Would they leverage platforms like Ethereum or Solana? I know a couple of years ago, everyone was talking about BlackRock launching a fund on Ethereum. And I think that set precedent. I think even when people were talking about CBDCs, it was always when and how. When are they going to do it? But how are they going to deploy? Will they choose an existing layer one or start their own? And I think for the most part, when you see these funds and these big companies go on chain, they seem to be settling in on the likes of Ethereum and Solana, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I haven't seen like I actually have seen like governments pushing like permission chains, like HBAR and stuff like that, IOTA, but they are complete failures. So if you look at the market, and the thing is, like I'm actually looking into this platform economics, platform literature, and one of the things that the, the argument against governments and New York Stock Exchange and all these people launching their own layer one platform is that it's very hard to bootstrap the platform and solve the chicken and egg problem. And once you have a network effect, I think it's very hard to compete with that. So like I'm not sure like what chain they're gonna be launching on or whether they're gonna be launching their own chain. But I feel like the better way for them would be to build on top of existing chains or like a roll up on top of existing chains because you need that network effect. You need to tap into the ecosystem because activity is already there. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I remember when I first got into crypto, I was talking to a friend and he's like, you don't understand. In the future, he goes, what all of finance is going to be built on Ethereum with all CBDCs running on there, and every token is going to be backed by Bitcoin as its reserve currency. And in a weird way, this kind of feels like it's coming into reality. But for sure, I think we've set the stage of it seems stocks are coming on chain now. They're here, they're not going anywhere. These platforms like Ethereum and Solana are where they're going to be operating. There's many advantages to them being on chain, like we said about tradable hours, breaking down geographical boundaries. There's also the custody argument too. Like you have more power over your own tokens. If I'm holding my Tesla tokens, it's better in my personal wallet than on a Robinhood account for me anyway. But it does seem there's quite a lot of advantages to doing things on chain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've recommended one of the things like I've noticed in myself. So I started like crypto, and then when I met a friend of mine and I recommended like buying stocks like indexes, and she kind of bought the index, and I started reading about the what this index do, like whether she owns the underlying stock or anything like that. And I realized that actually people who are buying the index, so they're actually buying, so there is a custodian. So they're not even like holding their own stocks in their account. Apparently they just hold an ETF, and ETF is a wrapped version of like bunch of stocks. And I go like, oh shit, but that's so wrong. But the mentality, I go like, okay, so for me, it's a kind of wild thing. Um,
Yeah,
but actually people like do that. So in crypto, at least like you still kind of trust the custodian, but still like it's in your wallet. So anytime you can sell it, kind of this kind of thing.
yeah, no, it's really interesting, and it's getting big, man. There's a lot of big players out there, as we said with BlackRock, New York Stock Exchange, Robinhood, the works. Everyone's getting involved. Why do you think now is when things are kicking off? Why 2025? 2026, I should say.
I think again, few reasons. Infrastructure I think has matured. Ethereum is battle tested, Solana is battle tested, Arbitrum Optimism base they are battle tested. They've been up like I don't know. Ethereum hasn't had like it's you know was never down essentially. Solana hasn't been down for like 3 4 years. So infrastructure has matured. People are now like, okay, now we can actually build on top of that because there is a track record. That's the one thing. The second thing, again, like US administration, they changed their stance on crypto, much more supportive regulations. And yeah, and they see the market here. For example, all these banks, all these like firms, like now they see the market and the potential addressable market here. So now they're like entering because there is lots of users on chain.
Yeah. Obviously with the Genius Act as well, passing, that was a very big deal. I guess for people who aren't aware and didn't understand what the Genius Act was, can you explain it very quickly?
So Genius Act is essentially like a bill that clarified that stablecoins are not a security. So there was a big debate whether like a crypto assets are securities. So if they're securities, SEC should kind of oversee them. So they need to file with SEC. So there is all this bureaucracy. So Genius Act essentially tells that stablecoins are not securities. And since they are not securities, you have much more freedom to issue and work with stablecoins. So that's essentially a Genius Act. And I think
Okay.
the reason for that is just, US pushing like stablecoins very hard because that's the way for them to export their debt to anywhere in the world. So anyone with the internet can buy their debt, because they store wealth in USDC or use it for payments. So I think that's important, and that's why they call it Genius Act. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. He's genius. So, bro, who are leading the charge? I saw something about how the SEC dropped its like legal case with like Ondo or something, Ondo Finance.
Yeah,
Who
they
are the
dropped
people
a
at the
bunch
front?
of cases. They dropped the case against OpenSea, Ondo, Uniswap, and few other cases. So, like, they're just not going after them anymore. Because again, Gary Gensler is out. Paul Watkinson is the new chair of ECC, and he's very crypto friendly. And they're just, they're not pursuing those cases.
Yeah, absolutely. The door's wide open. So, who is leading this crypto X stocks race, bro, outside of just the big TradFi players coming in?
Um, It's very hard to say who is leading, but I'm gonna tell you who is like in it because many platforms hasn't launched yet. The first thing is like you have um, Robinhood, tokenizing stocks on Arbitrum. Then you have Ondo. Then you have Coinbase telling, okay, we're gonna launch stocks trading on our platform. Then you have Hyperliquid. You can trade stocks, but you kind of, you can't own it. Like you can't spot trade. You can just leverage trade stocks. And you have X stocks. So there are like five players. On Solana, obviously, X stocks is leading. I think it's like over 90% market share. Hyperliquid is a different discussion, in my opinion, because they offer leverage trading rather than spot. Ondo is good, but I didn't quite like the UX. And Robinhood and Base, I think that hasn't launched yet.
Okay. So, how does a tokenized stock actually work? Do I actually hold a stock? Is it mine? Is it a derivative? What actually is it? What am I buying when I go and I buy Tesla X?
So for now, it's kind of like a wrapped version of
Okay.
a stock that tracks the price of the underlying stock, but it's kind of backed by the custodian. But essentially it's not the same thing as like holding a stock. But on Breakpoint last year to 2025 December, I, I saw the Galaxy's CEO or like partner, he delivered a speech and said, oh, the next step for us is to natively issue a stock on chain. So the underlying stock would be on chain rather than
Mm,
you bring the New York Stock Exchange traded asset on chain, you just issue it on chain. So which is much more better. So why? Because you will have like better liquidity and execution instead of like relying all on all these market makers, custodians to kind of balance out like these price discrepancies. So
okay.
for now, it's just you can call it a derivative. I call it like a wrapper, but I
Yeah,
think the
okay.
next step would be like people will start issuing stocks natively on chain.
Yeah, that was the way I always foresaw it happening. I thought you're gonna need a lot of company who choose to like ICO over IPO when I
Yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
envisioned it. But now it did make sense for existing companies to move over. There had to be something akin to this. And I think yes, looking at it like a wrapped asset is a great way to understand it. Um, I have a few things popped up from there, but so talk to me. How does it work where when traditional stocks are not being traded in certain hours, but you can trade those derivatives in crypto? What's happening with the price? Because it seemed like there could be some opportunities in there.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think, like my personal opinion, you shouldn't be trading the current stocks on weekends because I think you will end up paying a premium. Because whoever, like for example, whoever is buying the stocks on weekends, like whoever is counterparty to you, is likely to take a risk for holding it for a couple of days over weekends, and for that it will charge you additional spread. Okay, so this is how it works right now. So if you're buying over weekend, for example, X stocks, right? So you'll likely end up with like a premium, paying premium there. So the other way is that market, even though how do I say? Even though market is closed over weekends, there are also things like pre-market markets, so where people just speculate where the price is going to go. So they can reference that, but I don't think that's very good strategy long term. But for now, it just market makers, all these custodians charging you premium because they're taking risk of holding the asset over the weekends. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah. Are there decent size arbitrage opportunities for people willing to play that game?
in stocks.
Yeah, the
Um,
like trading like the market's closed, but you can now
unless
take a
you
punt.
can own the um, unless you can own the stock directly. So, for example, if like Tesla is trading, I don't know, at like 5% premium relative to your where it's trading at whatever your broker is, I don't know, interactive brokers, whatever you use. So if there is price discrepancy, you can certainly arbitrage it. But I think if the price discrepancy is because of the market is closed on weekends, Tesla closed at like 150, but over the weekend it's back to 185 or something like that. So you should be willing to take that risk of holding the asset over the weekends. So, but if it happens on weekdays, yeah, you can just, temporary price discrepancy. You can buy on interactive holder, um, and you can even, for example, short on perps, like on hyperliquid, and capture the spread. So whenever it moves to equilibrium, like your short position would be more in profit than, the losses on your spot position. So like there are these kind of ways, but it depends on your broker.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. What are the big risks with these things? Obviously, get the to get the connection between the actual real stock price and this derivative, there's an oracle involved. We saw what happened with Binance over October 10th and 11th. And what are the main risks associated with trading these stocks on chain?
Um, Again, custodian, you need to know who is the custodian, whether they are like regulated, whether the assets are actually backed by the underlying stocks. Um, and again, this is the liquidity still is bad. For example, you entered the position, but when you're exiting, you're paying like 5-10% in slippage. That doesn't work. And especially, for example, it might work in crypto because crypto moves in like wildly. Because your like 3-4% in slippage might be justified because the asset has 2x over the week, right? So you go like, okay, whatever, 3% doesn't matter. But if it's happening with stocks, you'll have to wait like I don't know, a year or two for like 20% return, and you paid 3% in slippage like instantly. So these are risks. And again, this is like a fundamental question whether it will work long term. If you are, for example, paying 3% slippage for an asset that moves like 11-12% on average a year per year. For example, you're buying S&P on chain, right? So you are paying like, I don't know, 1-2% in slippage, and you'll have to wait like 2 years and you will be up like still underperform S&P because you paid like 3% in like slippage.
Yeah. So it's not really there for trading. Like these are more things you kind of buy and hold. if you're going to be
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
these
yeah,
things on
yeah.
chain.
And
That
needs to
makes
be
sense.
very careful with execution for now.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but I think
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for example, that will allow you to buy like natively, and you won't pay any slippage. For example, when you deposit into lending market, you don't pay any slippage, right? So you
Mm.
just deposit there to the account, and they send you a stock, and then you will have like a very minor slippage or fee, like 0.01%. But the problem with taxes is that you'll need to pay for this, slippage and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we see the risks and some of the downsides of it, holding the derivative. We also see why it's a huge win that you can trade these assets on chain now. What are some of the advantages? I was playing around, I believe, on Radium a couple of days ago, and you can supply liquidity to some of these assets, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, you can supply, like you can do a concentrated liquidity positioning like in like S&P 500, Tesla. You can pair your Tesla with Sol, so like kind of your Solana will be less volatile because it's paired with Tesla, but at the same time it's gonna go like up because Tesla is a growth stock and Solana is kind of also a growth asset. It's an altcoin. So you can do so. What's important here is that it opens a whole new um, risk, like a whole new positioning along the risk curve. So previously, this risk profile wasn't available. The combining stocks and crypto in a liquidity pool. So the stocks are not that volatile, but crypto is volatile. But at the same time, you earn fees, so it somehow compensates the volatility. Um, but you still kind of over the long term your portfolio is going up because if you paid with stable coins you wouldn't have that much growth, but because you paid it as a stock with a growth stock it's still going up like very high. So it's very interesting. So before it wasn't available like this kind of strategies, and now it's available. For example, now anyone can borrow against the S&P 500 on Camino, which is cool, right? So you can leverage long S&P using Camino, um, or like leverage long Bitcoin while still kind of keeping exposure to the stock market. So these are interesting kind of strategies. But again, like I think crypto degens might not my concern that the adoption might be slow because crypto, like we have like a massive expectations. We get bored of this 11%
Yeah.
a year. I don't care. I want like 5x in like I don't know 3 months. We have like this kind of expectations. So
Yeah.
let's see how
I
it plays.
think, yeah, I think you're right. And I think a lot of people have to look at this almost as, look, it's not a requirement. You don't have to start doing these things. There are some advantages that we've covered so far to trading stocks on chain. One of the biggest ones being the ease of it. If you already have your capital in Phantoms and on MetaMasks, you don't need to start to off ramp and now go fund a Robinhood account. You can just trade right then and there from your Phantom, for example. Um, I think for the people that look at them and think that there aren't enough returns, I think we all have to sit back and think, well, we all felt the same way about gold, right? No one saw what happened to gold or
Yeah,
silver to happen the way it has. And both gold and silver were available to us via crypto, but everyone kind of left them to the side and didn't think about it. And I know a lot of people, maybe you don't want to be holding, Bitcoin or Ethereum or a meme coin right now because of how the market's doing. But some people don't want to be sitting there in USDC either, right? Because it's getting eaten up by inflation. Well, now you can get exposure to the S&P, you can get exposure to gold, you can get exposure to silver. So I do think it's a good way for people to diversify across asset classes, but also get easier access to it. Like from right now, this moment, if I have $10,000 and I want to go buy a stock and I've got no experience with it thus far, I want to buy a stock. How long is it going to take me from this very second, if I don't have an account or anything on like a brokerage, to go and buy a stock versus how efficient is it to do that same exercise on chain? It's much, much quicker. And that's probably the biggest advantage uh, is the ease and the simplicity of it, especially for people who are already in crypto.
Yeah, I agree. I would add that, like, for example, when I started my investing journey, the first thing I wanted to buy was S&P 500. But because I was studying in Korea and I was from Uzbekistan, I didn't have access and I didn't know how to buy S&P 500. So I spent a month or two trying, like, opening like Korean brokerage accounts, and they require KYC, whether you are like good investor, they ask you questions. And then I ended up in crypto because crypto doesn't care. You can just join it and buy it and sell it, and that's how you invest. So
Yeah.
because it was more inclusive, I ended up in crypto, and it's much more open. And the second thing, someone asked, why would you buy crypto stocks on in crypto? Is because, again, I don't know, you can actually borrow against, you can do a bunch of like DeFi strategies with stocks on chain, which will have different risk profile. So I'll, like, for example, borrowing against S&P 500 is much less riskier than borrowing against SOL. Like, market wise, volatility wise, you are less likely to get liquidated. So with that being said, I think it unlocks the whole new possibilities, because, as I said, like crypto, like in DeFi, you can have like a lot of interesting like strategies and stuff like that. So now you can do those stuff as stocks. So you can experiment. I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
There will be cool
absolutely.
opportunities.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It just opens up so many more doors. And I think as soon as people open their mind up to what's available, they'll start to capitalize. Like the lending part's so true. And we just talked about concentrated liquidity on stocks in the S&P. You didn't have these opportunities before. And people in TradFi, they can't do that. It's not an option. They cannot supply liquidity to the S&P and get rewarded for supplying the liquidity. They can't do this. Abroad, this stuff is not available to US customers at the moment, is it?
I mean, even if it's not available, like the notion of not availability in 21st century, uh, like it's available to anyone. If you have the internet account, it takes like 2 minutes to download a VPN, and you can still kind of use it and buy it. So yeah, technically it might not be available for the US citizens, but in practice, anyone can buy it.
Yeah, illegally accessible. And I guess speaking of that, then, how does this work with taxes? So, how does tax work on these things? The same way it would work if you were trading the traditional stock?
No, I think because it's a derivative and it's kind of a wrapper, so you're not holding the underlying stock. You are holding a token at the end of the day. So I think it will be taxed like similarly to you buying and selling BTC in Ethereum. So because it's still considered to be a stock, a crypto. So it's not really a stock. So yeah, whatever you are, like, whatever your jurisdiction is, I don't know whether you are in US, Switzerland, or I don't know, in Portugal, where there are no taxes on crypto. So it might actually be better if you're in Portugal and you pay taxes on stocks, but you don't pay taxes on crypto. You can pretty much like buy stocks on chain, and you will end up not paying any taxes. So
Yeah, well, I assume a lot of that's going to be happening. That's the reality. There's a lot of people who on-ramped to crypto years ago through dead exchanges, and there's probably no trace back to their actual like bank account and their like public life. And now they've got potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that they can now deploy into the stock market anonymously. That's very, very interesting. Bro, so we're talking about now the merger. We get that. We see the advantages. Um, how do we get stuck in? Like, how should someone take their first step? Let's say they're listening to this conversation. They're like, you know what? Cool. I'm a crypto guy. I see there's an advantage here. They're saying it's easy. They still don't know how to do it. I think we should show people what they can actually do. Maybe we can share our screen and go over a live example. Um, but yeah, how should someone get started? What would you recommend? Can we walk through
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
the
yeah,
demo
sure,
for
sure,
people?
sure, sure, sure. Okay, I can walk through.
And I do
So
know there's a certain special stock that you want to go over because there's a bigger message
yeah,
later in the
maybe we'll
stream.
go over first, and then I'll show how to buy it. Maybe
Let's
that's
do
more.
that. So tell the guys about Stocktinary's first pick.
Yeah, okay. I was just looking at the chat. So like we've covered Circle. yesterday we published a report covering Circle. For those who don't know, Circle is a stablecoin issuer. So it's known as a stablecoin issuer of USDC, and USDC is known to be the safest, stablecoin, at least among crypto natives. So like there is USDT, who is like the biggest stablecoin issue, but every once in a while there is a FUD about USDT regarding their like backing and reserves. So USDC is like a much more regulated, much more transparent and well-known stablecoin. So we covered that because like the chart looks good, the fundamentals looks good, and the main argument, the thesis for Circle was that it can kind of be a smart. It could be a very good synergy with Bitcoin because the Bitcoin is sensitive to interest rates, and the Circle is also sensitive to interest rates, but in the opposite way. So it could kind of balance each other out. So you have like a very good exposure in the short term and in the long term because it's a growth stock, because the overall supply of the USDC is expected to grow because of this US government's push towards exporting dollars via stablecoins. We have Genius Act, Clarity Act. So overall, the supply of USDC is expected to grow over time. And if you have like rate hikes, it will grow even faster. So that's why like we thought like it could be a very good synergy if you combine BTC and Circle and other crypto assets together in one portfolio.
Yeah, so ultimately, in short, for someone to summarize, Circle is basically the company responsible for USDC, and they obviously benefit when people risk off. When people want to sell their Bitcoin, their Ethereum, their Solana, their memes, what are they swapping it for? They're swapping it for USDC, right? So when the market risks off, that's positive for USDC and Circle. But then in the long term, we do want Circle, of course, wants crypto to grow, as that means increased supply over time. So you're basically playing both sides here. In the short term, you win, well, long term too. You win off the panic, but you also win off the long-term innovation, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool. Well, we obviously can drop the report later on, the full circle deep dive, but bro, let's show people how to get started. How about going in, sharing your screen, and let's go buy some Circle.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, let's share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two ways to get exposure to Circle. So first, you can get spot exposure, or you can get, perps exposure. So if you go to Hyperliquid, I think they've listed the Circle here. So it's trading at $72. So you can either, I think I wouldn't recommend, trading because funding first of all is high, 17% for an asset that doesn't move like that violently. So the best way to do that, in my experience, is on Solana, using Xtalks, because I've tried Ondo, but it requires you to kind of open, provide, your email address, some of your details. So I don't like that. But on Jupiter, it's like, one click and done. So I think that's way better user experience. So you just go to Jupiter or you go to Titan, whatever exchange you prefer. You fund your wallet with like Solana, Aura, or anything, USDC, and you just type here Circle, and it is verified here. So Circle X stock. You click on it, and then you enter amount you want to
Yeah.
buy,
It
and you
really is as simple as a regular transaction, right?
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
exposure
yeah.
for people to get stuck in, it's nothing. It's not even a tutorial. Is it the same when someone's going to buy Tesla or an S&P derivative? Is it all the same thing? Is it this
Yeah, yeah,
easy
you can
across the
just
board?
go like in, I don't know, SPX. No, it's like S&P. Where is it? S&P 500. It shows like SPX 69. Okay,
Yeah,
SPY.
yeah.
It's not
Okay,
SPX.
SPY.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Same
And how
thing.
many assets? This is through StockX, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. X stocks.
X stocks. How many assets are they dealing with? Like over 400 plus?
Last I checked, it was like 30, 40, like all
One of
the
the
major
platforms,
assets. So it wasn't like 400.
there was one company I think have over 400,
I
400.
think might be Ondo. They have so many
Maybe
stocks
Ondo.
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they have.
Ondo has 400. What are the advantages of using Ondo or using um, StockX?
So with StockX, I like it's just simple. I can show you how it looks like on Ondo as well. So with like StockX, you just click swap. It just very easy, and you connect your wallet into your password, confirm the transaction, and you own the asset. Okay, that easy. Done. Transaction confirmed. Took like 1 minute. With Ondo, uh, da- 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 da, they have like much more variety of stocks there, but like you need to connect your wallet and sign up as well. So because I'm the kind of person who doesn't like signing up, doxing my stuff. Like for me, it was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. You know. Um, so
Okay.
like probably KYC stuff is not really good. So that's why I kind of you know skipped it, passed. Yeah, we can buy like they have like silver and Intel, all these assets. I think they have like so many assets here.
Yeah,
You
it's
have you
incredibly
even have like
accessible.
ETFs, technology,
Yeah.
consumer, financial, large cap growth.
Can I buy a Bitcoin ETF, bro?
Yeah, okay, let's see. You can buy silver. I don't know what that is. Share bonds. Oh, you can even buy bonds.
Yeah,
You can
see,
buy
the door
gold.
is so wide. I really don't believe people know how accessible this is and how easy it is. And there's a whole new world here. This is one thing we kind of missed out on in 2025, and we're not going to do the same in 2026. We should start covering these every single week. There's loads of opportunities out there. So if you guys have any particular stocks that you want us to take a look at
Not just
and dive
stocks. You can
into, we
even buy
can.
like oil here, oil ETF.
And do these all work in the same way, bro? They're just simple derivatives, same idea. There's a custodian somewhere who has to give
Yeah,
proof of
yeah. Someone
ownership.
is gonna be a custodian here. So it's Ondo who is a custodian. So you're not gonna be owning the stock underlying, but you kind of owning, but you're kind of also not owning because it's a wrapper. But you will have a claim. So for example, if you own S&P 500, technically you are owning an ETF, either like offered by Vanguard or like I don't know BlackRock. So you're not actually owning the underlying stocks. You're owning a wrapper, but it still works. You're kind of owning it, but still like a wrapper. So here as well, you're owning the asset, but you're owning in the form of, wrapped version. There is always risk. So if it's a wrapped version, there is always a risk. But the alternative is that, for example, if you don't wanna own the wrapped version of S&P 500, you will have to buy all these 500 companies on your own, and do the
Yeah,
balancing and rebalancing stuff. Some people do it. I've seen people doing it manually and rebalancing every month. But you gotta ask, okay, should I just take the risk and just focus on my work instead of trying to rebalance all this stuff, or just buy the wrapped version?
yeah,
So many
absolutely.
people just buy the ETF.
No, it makes sense. And I think no, it's very interesting abroad. There's a lot of players here. We'll see what happens with the New York Stock Exchange. We'll see what happens with BlackRock. Ondo seems like a cool platform. I think we should explore it further. We should see how the fees work on there. StockX is great. I do think, not everyone is going to watch this and walk away and say, I want to start trading stocks. But I hope it did open up a lot of people's eyes to what's possible. And ultimately, this is not exactly what everyone foresaw when we said, tokenization is the future. I think everyone thought new companies would be the ones that would always choose to launch on chain straight away. That's obviously not the case, but I think this is a good first step towards moving everything on chain, which I think there are a lot of advantages to. And I think right now, regardless of what Undo does, StockX does, or BlackRock do, etc., Circle does seem like the most obvious play out there. It seems to win regardless. So I do think of all the assets we've looked at from the stocks perspective, Circle seems like a great one. Bro, in the Circle report, do we go in and talk about its upside, how
Yeah,
much
yeah,
return
yeah,
we can
yeah.
expect, etc.?
Yeah. So I can even show the chart here on Jupiter. So since IPO, it's been down. I think it's a good territory. So you're not buying the top despite the um, stock market being at all-time highs. So one of the arguments I heard on among some ideas is, oh, Cryptonary is buying stocks when stocks are at all-time highs. I don't see any all-time highs here, to be honest. So it's kind of probably in a bottoming out process. So the upside is like right now, Circle is like 18 to 20 billion dollar market cap. So my first target is like 50 billion. So it's roughly this area, like a 2x, 2 to 2.5x from here. Okay.
I see.
Um, and that's driven essentially fundamental growth. If you look at the how much USDC supply has grown over years, so since the beginning of the bull market, USDC has grown like on average over 70% a year. In a bull market when many people don't want much exposure to USDC, like to stablecoins, I believe like in a bear market, it actually might because stablecoins are well established now, the growth might actually be even like higher because it will become much more attractive to hold USDC um, over like all other assets. So like my first target is 50 billion and the second target is like 100 billion. So there likely be a competition among stablecoin issuers, but overall these are my targets, and the justification for that is that looking at historical growth of USDC's supply essentially. So it's growing very fast. And yeah, that's the thesis.
No, it's very cool, bro. No, that's very, very good. I think we've covered pretty much everything. If anyone has any questions specifically around, the stocks and crypto and Circle, please feel free to drop them below. I have something cool coming for the guys in the Discord later. So if anyone here is watching who is not in our Discord, after this stream, go to Discord. We've got a surprise for you guys. And yeah, any questions before we wrap up?
There were
Oh,
questions about Aura, I think, in the
no,
chat.
we can discuss. Check the Discord. Bro, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Joms, Mr. Producer, I think we can call it there. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and head over to Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
See
some
you.
stuff.
Thank